Alrighty, so I haven't recorded anything on this channel in a while, and it's not because I didn't want to, but I was in a weird spot where I wanted to do another Let's Play, but I also didn't want to commit to anything really long, and I was also waiting for the green screen to come in so that way it would look better, and I don't know, I just really haven't had anything to make a video on. Changing gears though a little bit, I've not done any sort of reaction content or anything like that on this channel, and I don't really plan for it to be like a reaction channel or anything, but I think reacting to things and looking at things is kind of interesting, so I look through the Google cards on my phone every now and then. And I got recommended this article actually from IGN, which I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of IGN. I feel like it's more of a corporation than it is like people who actually play games most of the time. But either way, they put together a list of 48 games. I think we can actually see the title of the thing. The biggest games coming in 2022. 48 games that make up one of the most promising lineups in years. So I thought it would be interesting if we look through these games. They have a little summary and the release date and everything like that. I just wanted to talk about the games and whether or not I'm excited for them, and just, I don't know, talk about it a little bit, because I'm somewhat of a gamer, as you would say. I do play a lot of games, especially on the PC, and I do have a Nintendo Switch, so those are pretty much the only two platforms I'm looking at. I doubt there's any mobile games on here, and even if there was, I really doubt that I would play them. So Rainbow Six Extraction is the first one here, and I've got to be honest, I really can't tell if this is just a spin-off of Rainbow Six Siege, or if this is going to be a new game mode for it, or if it's going to be like free, or if you have to pay for it, or whatever. It comes out on January 20th, and it's available on, I assume these are all of the same consoles that Rainbow Six Siege is on, because that was my impression from the whole thing whenever they originally showed it off. But I gotta be honest, if this isn't free, I'm not buying it. I really don't care about it. Rainbow Six Siege is cool and all, but I don't have any interest in a PvE game like spin-off of it, which is apparently what this is. Ubisoft kicks off 2022 with Extraction, a PvE spin-off of an ultra popular shooter, Rainbow Six Siege. Built on the foundation of Siege, Extraction pits teams of 3 against a parasitic alien threat. The shooter suffered multiple delays and a name change since it was revealed in E3 2019. So not caring about this one. Not a huge fan. Don't really care. Next up, we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am excited for this because I'm quite the Pokemon fan. I do like a lot of Pokemon stuff. I have to be honest, I just bought, or I didn't just buy, I bought the Pearl remake whenever it came out, so I have Brilliant Pearl, or is it Brilliant Diamond? I can't remember what the Pearl one's called. Pearly Pearl. I bought the new Gen 4 remake, and I have to say I'm pretty disappointed in it. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. Obviously, it's just a remake of the 4th generation games, but I'm just kind of overall unimpressed. So I don't know. I'm excited for this one though, because it's its own new concept standalone game, and it's on the Switch hardware, and it's, you know, it's free roam open world sort of. I don't know, it just seems a bit more interesting. It looks like something new and innovative for the Pokemon series, and I think that's what they need, is because the old regular Pokemon formula is kind of just getting old for me. Like, I've been playing the games for 20 years, so I've just kind of had it with the regular Pokemon games. Next up, we have Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 is pretty interesting. This is a game that I'm pretty sure they announced this game like 5 years ago. Like, it's been a really long time since this game was announced, and I am kind of looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be a game that I'm excited enough to be like, hey, as soon as this comes out, I'm picking this game up, because I don't care about it that much. The original Dying Light was pretty good. I did enjoy the original. and I do think this one has a lot of hype behind it and everything like that, but at the same time, I think this is going to be one of those games where unless I see somebody play it and I'm just absolutely blown away by it, I'm probably not getting this anytime soon after it releases. Like, I'll probably just either wait for it to go on sale, or I don't know, just wait till I'm just absolutely barren for games, which never happens. So I don't know, if there's a good sale on it at some point, I'll probably pick it up, because it is a kind of a cool series, I guess. Like, the first game was pretty good, and it was very enjoyable. So yeah, hopefully that one's pretty cool. I know a lot of people are excited for that one. Sifu, I actually have no idea what this is, so I can't say that I'm excited for it. February 8th, and it is a PS5, PS4, and PC release. Sifu is a new kung fu game from S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the studio behind 2017's combat-focused RPG Absolver, which, as far as I'm concerned, Absolver did not do very well. In addition to smooth martial arts combat or gameplay, Sifu features a unique mechanic around death. Upon dying, the playable character will be able to come back as an older version of themselves, a metaphor for the wisdom that comes with age and experience. However, if you grow too old, i.e. die too much, death will eventually result in a definitive game over. So that kind of just sounds like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the FromSoft game, but maybe you just have more lives. Maybe you can die more than once or twice. I don't know. I mean, I do like games with like different sort of art styles. Like, I'm kind of just over the whole like hyper realism thing. Like, I mean, you're at this point, graphics can only look so good without them just absolutely bogging my computer down. So I don't really care how good it looks. As far as I'm concerned, if it has a cool art style, I'm interested in it. I don't know, it seems alright. It's probably just another sort of Dark Souls style game where it's just like, oh hey, you go in, you die, you learn from it, you get better. And I mean, honestly, as far as indie games go, I don't really like a lot of the Dark Souls-y sort of indie games. They're too few and far between. Like, they're just, or not, that would make it sound like they don't come out often. They're everywhere. There's too many of them, I think. I accidentally skipped one. CrossfireX. I haven't heard of this either, but I know what Crossfire is, and if I'm not mistaken, Crossfire is like a really old shooter, and I guess they're bringing it back, maybe? February 10th, and it's going to be on Xbox Series X and S, and then the Xbox One, so it's not on PC, which is crazy because the first thing says ultra popular PC shooter Crossfire comes to consoles for the first time early next year. Both the single player and free to play multiplayer modes will be released on February 10th. Crossfire developer Smilegate is handling the multiplayer component, while Remedy Alan Wake Control created the two single player campaigns, Operation Catalyst and Operation Spectre, both of which will be available at launch. I mean, I guess if they're not for my console, that I'm not super interested in it. Is it already on PC or anything like that? Because if not, I just don't have any interest in it, really. It doesn't seem like it. So I guess not. I mean, if I can't play it, so I guess I'm not interested. Total War Warhammer 3. I have to be honest, I'm not a big RTS guy. I've played a couple of RTSs and they just never really hold my attention much. They're more of like a long form factor kind of game where you sort of like set up a campaign and you save and quit multiple times throughout the campaign. It's just like a whole ordeal sort of thing. Never really been into it. I have a friend who's really into Total War Warhammer. I'm pretty sure he has the first one and the second one, and he has some of the DLCs for the first one because they somehow tie into the second one or something or another, and he really enjoys them. Not personally my thing. I know that they have a pretty decent following from my understanding, so that's kind of cool. But February 17th on PC, not really something I'm looking forward to, just not my style of game, really. Horizon Forbidden West. Now, this one is kind of interesting because they have already ported over Horizon Zero Dawn to PC, which was kind of a big thing because the PlayStation and Sony in general just never really release exclusives onto other platforms, and with Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone actually has come out as well, they've ported those over to PC and they run fantastically. I'm actually currently playing through Horizon Zero Dawn because I never beat it when I originally had a PlayStation 4, and I'm really enjoying myself. So I forget sometimes, because I play so many like small indie games, or I just get sucked into the same games that I always play. Playing a AAA title is really like enjoyable right now, because I'm so used to sort of like either buggy early access games or just like small little indie games that really either don't have enough content in them, or they just, I don't know, it's just playing Horizon Zero Dawn has been very nice lately, because I've forgotten what AAA games look like and feel like, and it feels great. It feels good to play it. I've been really enjoying it so far. It's not something that I'm like dying to play every single day. Like, there's definitely days in between me playing the game, but so far it's a really, really cool game. I'm looking forward to hopefully keeping my attention span on it so I can finish the game. I did play Days Gone all the way through, which was really, 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 really good. So yeah, if they keep porting over PlayStation games, I won't be hating on that. That would be awesome, honestly. So this one comes out February 18th for PlayStation 5 and PS4, so I can't say too much about it. All I can say is I'm enjoying the first one at the moment. I'm not super far into it, but if I end up beating it and really enjoying it, then I'm sure if they end up porting this one in the future, I will be more than happy to get it at some point. Elden Ring is next. This was a huge one because everybody jumped on the Dark Souls train at some point, and everybody just won't shut up about it, and that's fine. I mean, Dark Souls is pretty cool. I hate that mentality of like, oh, it's a hard game and I'm a prestigious gamer because I beat Dark Souls. Everyone's beat Dark Souls, sorry to tell you. I mean, there are people who quit Dark Souls because they don't enjoy playing hard games, but Dark Souls isn't some niche little series anymore. Everyone has bought and played Dark Souls, so it's not really hipster of you to say, oh, Dark Souls is so crazy, you wouldn't understand it. It's probably too hard for you anyway. But that's not holding anything back. I already have Elden Ring pre-ordered. Really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to seeing how the whole open world aspect feels in a FromSoft game, because FromSoft does make really good games. And I'm just looking forward to messing around with it more, because I do really like the Dark Souls series. I think that it's a good series and it's really fun, and I don't know, just looking forward to seeing how the new one plays and feels and everything like that, because I feel like this is going to be a game that either is going to benefit greatly from being open world, or it's going to ruin the feel of it and it's not going to play very well because it is open world, and that might be an issue. So yeah, I think playing games that are linear can have advantages and stuff like that to them, and Dark Souls is a game that's always been linear, so I don't know, like, it definitely gives you options. Some of them give you like branching paths where you can go to one area first or go to the other area first, or whatever the case may be. But Elden Ring is probably going to be a whole different ball game, and I don't know how it's going to play just yet, but I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. Next up, Evil Dead the game. I remember them showing this off, and I have to say, it's not my thing. I've never seen the Evil Dead stuff. I know who he is because I play Dead by Daylight, and he is in Dead by Daylight. Ash Williams is, anyway. And I know of his movies and TV show. I'm not sure if it's a TV show. I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of movies. I don't actually know. But I don't know. This almost seems like a game that they were like, all right, the Evil Dead is like a pretty decent IP. If we acquire Evil Dead and make a game for it, it'll do well. But I don't think people that are, because I'm pretty sure Evil Dead was like it was like really big in either the 80s or the 90s, and I don't think that people my age, because I'm 25, really know as much about Evil Dead, and I don't know that it's going to do all that well. Hopefully it's fun. I don't know. I'm not really all that interested in it. It looks like it's for basically every platform. So I don't know. It's an asymmetrical multiplayer game based on the classic horror franchise. Continues in 2022 with Evil Dead the game, in addition to a PvP mode in which one player controls a Kandarian demon. Evil Dead will offer co-op and single player options. Perhaps best of all, Bruce Campbell lends his voice to the game, reprising his role as Ash Williams. Groovy. So it kind of seems like it's playing off maybe nostalgia for some people. It literally is an asymmetrical multiplayer game, and I can only assume they're trying to make it feel or like play kind of like Dead by Daylight. And there are a couple of games that do asymmetrical like good, but it's easy to screw it up. So I'm not looking forward to this game. I don't know enough about it to really care, and I already played Dead by Daylight, and I think this is basically just going to be kind of like that. So I'm not really all that interested. Babylon's Fall. So I think that this is an MMO. I'm not positive on that, actually. Let me look that up because I just don't know enough about the game. Cooperative RPG. So this is not an MMO. I think it's just an RPG game. I've definitely heard the name several times, but I don't know anything about it. So, nearly 4 years after it was announced at E3 2018, Babylon's Fall will release on PlayStation consoles and PC. Babylon's Fall is another combat-focused game from Platinum Games, the studio behind excellent action games like Bayonetta and Nier Automata. It's playable solo or cooperatively with up to 3 others. Though regardless of how you play it, it'll require a constant online connection. People hate that online connection thing. Constant online connection ruins a lot of single player games, which is unfortunate. And Bayonetta was never really my style. It plays a lot like Devil May Cry, and I mean those games are kind of cool, but they're just not really my style of game, and I've not been able to get to Nier Automata. I've actually thought about buying Nier Automata like a couple of times. Like it's on sale currently because they're doing like the winter sale on Steam, and I've thought about buying it. I thought it looked pretty cool, but at the same time I'm really bad at finishing like RPGs or JRPGs or anything like that, so probably not a game that I'll buy. I don't know anything about it really, and it just from hearing who makes it and how, you know, what kind of game it is, I'm probably just not interested, to be honest. Who knows? Gran Turismo 7 for only the PS5, so I'm immediately not interested because I don't own a PS5. It's already hard enough to get one. I'm not even interested in getting one. I used to love the Gran Turismo games. Actually, I used to play Gran Turismo 2 on the PS2 way back when I was a kid. I think it was Gran Turismo 2. It was either 2 or 3, and I actually really liked those games for whatever reason. Even though I'm not a car guy and I don't really like racing games, it was just one of those games I guess you get as a kid and you're like, I have it, so I'm gonna play it kind of thing. Probably not something I would enjoy today, to be honest. Not really into a whole lot of car games. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. So it looks like this one's coming out for all of the major consoles, not the Switch, because I'm assuming just from the graphics alone that it is not going to run on that console. I actually have never heard of this. Stranger of Paradise is a new type of Final Fantasy game, an action-heavy Souls-like from the studio behind Ninja Gaiden and Nioh. I've actually played a little bit of Nioh. Despite significant differences in gameplay compared to traditional Final Fantasy games, creative producer Tetsuya Nomura assures fans there's no doubt that the blood of Final Fantasy runs through Strangers of Paradise's veins. I mean, kind of like I said with the whole indie game thing, I'm kind of just tired of other companies making Souls-like games. I get it. Like, I don't know. I hate the concept of games being hard and being compared to Dark Souls. Like, games can be hard. They're not always Dark Souls. I don't know. Whatever. Not interested. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I have heard of this. I have not seen anything on it, unfortunately. It comes out March 25th, which is not too long into the year. It's a couple of months. It comes out for pretty much everything except for the Switch. I have to be brutally honest here. I have played through all of the Borderland games up to this point. I didn't play all the way through pre-sequel because I hated the moon stuff, and the guy that I was playing the game with just didn't enjoy it either, so we just decided to say whatever and drop it. I'm not so sure that a Tiny Tina spin-off game is going to be all that enjoyable to me, because I already think that a lot of the humor that Borderlands has is kind of cringy sometimes, and it got old really quickly. I really enjoyed the first game. The first game is definitely the best one in the franchise for me specifically, and the second one is pretty funny too. It started to get pretty cringe in the second one, and the third one, a lot of the jokes are just pure cringe, so I can only imagine that with Tiny Tina being the girl that she is in those games, it's going to be a ton of cringe, and I'm not really here for it. It's not something that I'm interested in investing money into, and who knows if I would even actually beat the game. It probably is. It's just not something I'm interested in enough to where it would actually hold my attention span. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Now this is something that I'm very interested in. I never played the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R games. I have played one of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R games. I can't remember exactly which one it is. S.T.A.L.K.E.R. I have Call of Pripyat, and I've played it for 25 minutes. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm what you might call a gamer. So I don't know, I'm really interested. S.T.A.L.K.E.R is super cool to me. I think the whole concept of the game, like being in sort of like post-apocalyptic Russia, is pretty cool. I really like the Fallout games, and there's not been a S.T.A.L.K.E.R like game that has come out in a very long time, so I'm actually really looking forward to this one because it should be very polished, very new, and with that sort of concept that I like from post-apocalyptic games. I think that this one has a ton of potential, and I've never really been too into S.T.A.L.K.E.R, but I really like the concept of it, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one coming out. I don't know if it'll be something I try to buy day one, but if it comes out and I watch some stuff on it and it actually turns out to be what I was looking for, I'll probably get it. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to read the description for it. It's been a long road to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. The game was first announced in 2010, rumored to be canceled in 2011, then actually canceled in 2012. Years later, developers GSC Game World started fresh on the series' first numbered sequel, revealing it in 2020 as a unique blend of FPS, immersion, sim, and horror. It will launch into Xbox Game Pass and will be a Series XS console exclusive for 3 months. So is it only going to be on Xbox like first, and then they'll port it, like it'll come out on PC after that? Because if so, hopefully you can play it on Game Pass. And honestly, Game Pass is a really good way to go. Like I don't like a whole lot of Xbox games nowadays, but Game Pass is pretty cheap, and they tend to port new games to it very quickly. So you can basically pay like $8 or whatever the Game Pass subscription is and play a brand new game instead of paying $60 for it. Obviously, you won't own the game. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, first of all, it's on my wish list, so it comes out in April, but on here it says, okay, yeah, so it's April. I don't know, maybe it is coming out at the same time on PC, but if it is, I'm interested in it. I think it'll be really cool. Hopefully, looking forward to that one. I might have to speed this up because I'm already 23 minutes in. Oxenfree 2, never heard of it. I'm pretty sure I think I've heard of the first one, actually. Pretty sure it's just an indie game. Probably, it doesn't really look like my style of game. Not on my radar enough to really play it. The Day Before. This one actually looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of The Division from Ubisoft, which I've played the first Division, and I played pretty much all of it. Not maybe like every single bit of it, but a lot of it was pretty cool. I kind of enjoy looter shooters now and then. And then I did play the second one a little bit here and there, and I thought it was pretty cool too. This one gives me a lot of like Division vibes, and I think that I think it has a lot of potential. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it says open world MMO, which is pretty interesting. It is a zombie game instead of it just being like post-pandemic sort of style like the Division was. But I think this one has a lot of potential. Obviously, there's not really a whole lot of like trailer or anything for it. Like there's not a whole lot of gameplay as far as I know out there. But this one looks really, really cool. June 21st for PC. Consoles are to be announced. Obviously, once it gets closer to release date, hopefully there will be some more media for it, so I can actually see what the game's gonna be. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that one. I'm pretty sure that one's on my wish list on Steam as well. Forspoken, I actually have not seen this, I don't think. It looks like a huge open world game, which I'm normally pretty into. It is a Square Enix game as well. Sorry, I highlighted the wrong thing there. Forspoken has all the markings of a sleeper hit, from its interesting isekai premise to its frantic magic parkour traversal system. That actually sounds pretty interesting. I don't know, I might have to look into this one a little bit more. Don't know enough about it for it actually to be like anticipated for me, but I don't know, it looks actually kind of cool. Like that one's just from that screenshot alone and from the brief description that I read there, definitely something that I might have to look into a little bit. Ghostwire Tokyo. I think I remember watching the E3 presentation for this game, and it looked very interesting, to say the least. It looked kind of all over the place, very like cyberpunky sort of, but I don't think that it's really going to be anything that I'm super interested in. It is coming to PC. Maybe whenever it comes out I'll be more interested in it, but as of now, like, I don't have any sort of like hype or like anticipation for the project, I guess. But I don't know, maybe in the future. Kirby and the Forgotten Land for Switch. I have actually never played a Kirby game in my life. Never really been a fan of the character enough to try to buy a game of it. So not really interested. Plus, Nintendo games are $60 pretty much every single time, and they never budge on the price. And to be honest, I would never pay $60 for a Kirby game. I'm just not interested in Kirby enough. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Now, this would be cool if I was like 10 years younger. I really did enjoy the Star Wars, or like Lego Star Wars games a lot, but nowadays I really don't think it would be something that I would be willing to spend money for, which is a little unfortunate. But if I was younger, I would really love this, but I'm not, and I don't really think that I would really get enough enjoyment out of the game, so gonna be a pass for me on that one. I don't know anything about Star Trek, so I'm skipping this one. Not anticipated. Saints Row. August 23rd on everything except for the Switch, basically. Volition's rebooted Saints Row is a decidedly less wacky than the series' previously two entries, harkening back to a balance of ridiculous and grounded last seen in Saints Row the Third. I don't think the Saints Row the Third was even really that grounded. It was pretty wacky as well. The reveal was met with some skepticism from the longtime Saints Row fans, but Volition is confident in its vision, responding to backlash by saying it's not backing down on this game. That seems very interesting. I always really liked the first two Saints Row games. I thought that they were really good competitors to Grand Theft Auto, but once it got to the third one, and then anything after the third one, I did play the third one quite a bit, but it just sort of went downhill there. I liked the whole, just, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto feel of it, but without it being Grand Theft Auto, I guess. And then they sort of just went too wacky for me. I personally didn't care for it, but if this one is supposed to be a little bit more like the earlier ones, I could get behind it. It just depends on how wacky they get with it, really, for me to be interested in it. But it comes out in August. Probably not something that I would buy as soon as it came out. Redfall. I definitely remember the trailer for this. This one could definitely be interesting. It's just a co-op shooter, so it's nothing like too crazy. Redfall is the next game from Arcane Austin, the studio behind 2017's excellent Prey. Set in the island town of Redfall, Massachusetts, the co-op shooter lets you and up to 3 friends loose in a vampire-filled open world. It'll be an Xbox Series X and PC exclusive and it'll be available day one on Game Pass. So it's another Game Pass game. Could be kind of cool. Depends on how interactive it is and how fun it is to play with friends and stuff like that. Because if it's just going to be like an open world co-op shooter, it wouldn't be a game that I would buy by myself. Like, it would be something that if my friends are interested in it and they want to buy it, then I would be more willing to buy it. But without friends, I'm not playing this. Scorn. I think I've heard the name, but I've not seen anything on it. We were disturbed and delighted when Scorn resurfaced in May 2020 with an all-new trailer showcasing its H.R. Geiger-inspired aesthetic. The first-person horror game will finally be released in 2022. I don't like horror games. I played through Resident Evil not too long ago on this channel, and absolutely just really, I liked Resident Evil, but I just, getting scared is just not my thing. I'm not really interested in that. So not something I'm gonna buy. Starfield is also very interesting. Starfield is the new game from Bethesda. I really like Bethesda, but a lot of Bethesda's newer stuff is not hitting on a whole lot for me. So I don't know, maybe it'll be pretty good. This is an actual original IP from Bethesda, which is very unheard of, because they didn't originally come up with the Elder Scrolls, if I'm not mistaken, and they definitely didn't come up with Fallout. Those were just two IPs that they sort of acquired and then built a lot of success off of. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not running on the same engine that they've been using for the last 48,000 years. But I'm looking forward to this one. I think this one has a lot of potential. The fact that it says right here Skyrim in space does not give me any sort of good vibes at all. Although Skyrim was good, I liked Oblivion and Fallout series a lot more. So I just they've re-released Skyrim 8,000 times. If they could stop playing on the success of that, that would be great. Lord of the Rings Gollum. I have seen some of the Lord of the Rings. I don't know enough about it to be excited for a Lord of the Rings like IP game, so not something I'm interested in. I have a friend who really likes Lord of the Rings though. I honestly couldn't see him buying this either. To be honest, I don't know, it would have to be like really interesting, but it just doesn't. A game about Gollum maybe could be cool. Company of Heroes 3, late 2022 for PC. I don't know really anything about Company of Heroes. I'm pretty sure this is one of those like top-down games, like more strategy style game. It does seem like that, more of like a war, like almost like an RTS kind of game, sort of like Warhammer. Yeah, it definitely says World War II RTS right there, if I could just read it. Not really interested. Not a big fan of RTSs. Homeworld 3, I've actually never heard of this. Q4 2022. The nearly 20-year-old wait for Homeworld 3 will come to an end in late 2022 when Gearbox, oh boy, releases the long-awaited space RTS sequel, RTS. Moving on. Moving on. Marvel's Midnight Suns. I have recently been getting into the Marvel movies and everything like that. I think they're really fun. I honestly have zero interest in the games. Any sort of like superhero game besides maybe Spider-Man, because the newer like PlayStation Spider-Man games look really fun. Hopefully they get ported to PC at some point so I can play them. This just doesn't appeal to me at all. Just not a big fan of it. Just not my style. Not into it. A Plague Tale Requiem. Now this one is interesting because I literally just played through a Plague Tale. Innocence is the first one, right? Plague Innocence, that's correct. I finished playing it on December 1st, so it's literally been a month. Playtime took me 7.5 hours to beat it. Honestly, it was very enjoyable. Not something that I feel like I would normally try to play through. It was more or less just like a single player, story driven, like stealth kind of game. Like there's just, it's more of like a stealth puzzle game, kind of like you're just avoiding enemies and stuff like that because you play as like a little girl. And obviously if any of the like armored guards see you, they basically just run up and cut your head off because you are a little girl against an armored guard. So that was a little frustrating at times, but honestly, very good game. Not something that I would pay too much money for, to be honest. Like if it was like $30, I would be kind of compelled to look into it, but I probably couldn't see myself buying it for anything much more than that. It looks like it will be on Xbox Game Pass at launch though, so that's pretty interesting. I don't, just so you know, I don't pay for Xbox Game Pass. Like I don't just have Xbox Game Pass. If there was something compelling enough, I would buy Game Pass instead of buying the game if it's something that I don't want to own in my Steam library. Arc Raiders. Never heard of this one either. Arc Raiders is a co-op shooter from all-new developer Embark Studios, a team headed by former EA exec Patrick Soderlund and comprised of ex-DICE developers who worked on Battlefield and Star Wars Battlefront. Set in a gorgeous sci-fi world, the free-to-play third-person shooter features 3-player co-op and emphasis on teamwork. Free-to-play is very compelling. 3-player co-op is a kind of an odd number. Normally you either go for 2-player co-op or 4-player co-op, maybe even 5-player. Normally don't see games with 3-player co-op, so kind of interesting. I mean, free-to-play third-person shooter could be cool. Just depends on, you know, what it actually is, because they literally just say 2022 here. I'm assuming they don't have a whole lot of info out on it at the moment. Might have to look into that one though. Next up, we have Arc 2. That is just a picture of Vin Diesel. I don't have high hopes. Arc 2 is a video game. Arc 2 is a video game. That's it. With giant dinosaurs and Vin Diesel. Oh, I'm an idiot. Arc 2. I've played Arc. I'm an idiot. I was like, wow, this is just something I've never even heard of in my whole life. I remember this now. This is all vaguely coming back to me. It's been a while since I've heard anything on this, but it doesn't have an actual release window just yet, just 2022. The fact that they put Vin Diesel in this makes me very skeptical about it, to be honest. Arc 1 was pretty okay at best for me. I don't know, there's a lot of survival games that I just can't get into. It's okay. It's pretty cool. The dinosaur aspects and stuff like that are really cool. I have a friend who really, really likes the first Arc, but I don't know, unless it's like super cheap or on sale or something, probably not buying that one, gotta be honest with you. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora comes out for PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC in 2022 at some point. Announced back in 2017 and properly revealed in 2021, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is a first-person, open-world action-adventure game set in the never-before-seen part of Pandora. Like the film, Frontiers of Pandora pits the Na'vi against humans and their mechs. It's in development at Massive Entertainment, Ubisoft studio behind The Division. So that honestly sounds good. I've seen the Avatar movie that we have. I think that he wants to make more Avatar movies, if I'm not mistaken, but I've seen the one Avatar movie. I honestly think that that is a really, really interesting world that they could do some really cool stuff with. So the fact that it's a first-person open-world action-adventure game makes me kind of excited for it just in its own, because that seems like a world that would be really fun to explore. And in like, they're very like spear and bow heavy. Like they don't use like guns or anything like that as far as I know. But yeah, that one actually seems like it could be like potentially really, really cool. So I might have to look out for that one. Bayonetta 3. Like I said earlier, wasn't really into the whole like Devil May Cry sort of like play style. Didn't really care for the Bayonetta series in general. The fact that it's coming out on the Switch, a game like this on the Switch doesn't really appeal to me a whole lot. Switch games for me are supposed to be like Animal Crossing, like indie classic, sort of relaxing, nothing stressful, nothing like fast paced really for the Switch, because it just, I don't know, it just doesn't really appeal to me. Like when I want to play the Switch, I play like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing or Pokemon, something that I can take at my own pace and play slowly and just enjoy it. I don't know, just that's kind of what the console is for me. So this is not really something I'm excited for. Even my friend who really likes Bayonetta is not excited for this because he said it looks like shit. So sorry to the Bayonetta people. The Callisto Protocol, never heard of this. horror fans are I'm leaving. Horror fans are going to want to keep an eye on the Callisto Protocol, a new sci-fi horror game helmed by Dead Space creator Glenn Schofield. I actually have played Dead Space. They're terrifying to me, but they're really, really cool. While the Callisto project looks the part of Dead Space, or looks the part of a Dead Space spiritual successor, it's actually set in the same universe as a different game, PUBG. Regardless, Schofield and co are aiming to make the scariest game on next generation platforms. They completely lost me with that. I don't like horror games, and PUBG has long outlived its usefulness. I don't care about battle royales at all, and not that this is going to be a battle royale, but the fact that they are saying that this is in the same universe as PUBG bothers me a lot. That's super stupid. Don't like that. God of War Ragnarok. Now, this one is something very interesting. Comes out in 2022 for PS4 and PS5. This is another one kind of like Horizon Forbidden West, where they are currently porting this over to PC. The original God of War, not the original, but the newer God of War that is not Ragnarok, the one before Ragnarok, the more recent one, is actually coming out in January. I think it's on the 14th. It's actually January 2nd at the moment. It's like really early in the morning, but God of War comes out very, very soon. I'm planning on buying it pretty much as soon as it comes out, because I played through probably half of it on the PlayStation, and then I just ended up selling my PlayStation at one point. So it does come out on January 14th. Looking forward to this one, actually. This one is something I'm really interested in. So with the first one being as good as it was, hopefully this one will get ported over, and that way I'll be able to play it on PC at some point. Gotham Knights. Like I said, not really into superhero stuff, plus not really a DC man myself. Batman's kind of cool, but I don't know, not a DC superhero kind of guy, so not my thing. Hogwarts Legacy. I couldn't see myself playing a like Harry Potter style game, but maybe if it's interesting enough. It seems the fact that it's called Hogwarts Legacy and not like Harry Potter something makes me a little bit more interested in it, because it's not trying to be Harry Potter. 2022 is the year of Harry Potter fans. Is the year Harry Potter fans will finally be able to embark on their own adventures through the wizarding world. Based on teaser footage, Hogwarts Legacy includes many of the activities you'd expect from the proper Harry Potter RPG, character creation, and sorting ceremony, magic lessons, potion brewing, Quidditch, and more. It will seemingly be released sometime after April 15th. See, that actually sounds kind of cool, because then you're not worried about it being just like Harry Potter themed. You're more or less like at the school, you make your own wizard, you go through the school aspect of it, which I think is actually really cool. Not personally a huge fan of Harry Potter. Like, it's kind of cool. I've definitely seen most of the movies. I've not seen every single one of them or anything like that, but that one, the way that they're actually making this actually seems cool to me. Like, I'm glad that it's not just like, you play as Harry Potter, very cool, oh my god. I don't know, just not my thing, but seems very cool. Actually, I'm somewhat interested in that. Kerbal Space Program 2. The first game was insanely hard, and I suck at math and science, so this game is basically all math. I really doubt that even giving myself a decent amount of time, I would ever be able to put a Kerbal on the moon, which was pretty much the whole goal of the first game. So not something I would play, but this is a game that I hope comes out, and I hope there's a ton of funny videos and stuff like that on it for me to enjoy on YouTube, or just like watching a streamer play it or something like that. Because people who are really smart and can play these games effectively, that's awesome, but I'm stupid, so I cannot play those games. Layers of Fear 2022, and it's to be announced. I'm pretty sure I own the first Layers of Fear, but I've never played it, so I don't like horror games. I'm pretty sure I got it out of a Humble Bundle at one point. I've heard good things about the first one, but I don't play horror games. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is very interesting. Honestly, I have a first generation Switch. I have the original Switch that came out. I waited in line at Best Buy on release date for the Switch, and when I got the original Breath of the Wild, I was actually I love the game, by the way. Completely played through the entire thing, did so much stuff in it, probably got tons of hours, probably over 100 hours or more into the game. Really enjoyed it. The fact that it runs like ass sometimes on the Switch really bothers me, and hopefully this new one doesn't, but I can only expect it to be more ambitious than the first game. And I don't know why, but just playing a game on the Switch is really cool, but when you're just walking around and the fact that there's blades of grass on the ground lowers your FPS, it bothers me. I guess it's one of those like elitist kind of things where I'm like, oh, I play on the PC where my frame rate is a solid 60 FPS, and if it dips below that, I cannot fathom playing the game. It's just the elitism in me, I guess, trying to complain about it. But honestly, really looking forward to it. I haven't had a really good Switch game that I've been excited for in a long time. So definitely would like to play this. Hopefully, depending on the release date, it'll be I'll have the money for it when it comes out, because it does seem really cool. Really enjoyed the first one. If it's half the game the first one is, I think it would still be worth $60. So they probably don't need any introduction. You don't need to, if you want to read this, pause the video or something. I know it's kind of tiny on the YouTube video, but yeah, excited for this one. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. You wouldn't have expected it, but I actually did purchase the original Mario and Rabbids game, but it was because I went to GameStop in the mall one day, and as a young person does, I had money on me that was absolutely burning a hole in my pocket. So I picked the game up and just absolutely played 4 levels of it and never touched it again. So not something I'm going to buy. It actually has that sort of like RTS feel to it, kind of, and I didn't hate it. It was actually kind of cool. It made me want to play like XCOM, which is something a little bit more in depth than a Mario Rabbids Nintendo Switch RTS game. But yeah, not something I would buy. What is this? Nightingale? What is it? It has like a weird title for some reason. Nightingale, never heard of this one. PC 2022. Nightingale is a shared open world from Inflection Games, a new studio comprised of ex-BioWare developers, including the renowned studio's former GM. Who cares? It's billed as a survival crafting game with first-person combat features, guns, melee weapons, and magic. Nightingale is housed in a fantastical Victorian setting, which Flynn says is as rich and full of history and life as anything we've worked on in the past. Seems kind of fantasy-esque. Could be very cool. The Victorian era, I feel like, doesn't have a whole lot of or Victorian setting. I don't know. I feel like a whole lot of games don't use the Victorian setting a lot, but I don't know. Could be really cool. Just depends on how. I would have to actually see some gameplay of it for me to even be remotely excited for it. But just off of this, what I can only assume is a concept art screenshot. Looks interesting. Maybe it'll catch my eye a little bit closer to release date. The Outlast Trials. I own Outlast 1 and 2. I don't play them because I don't play horror games. I know what you're thinking. You own all these horror games, but you don't like horror games. The reason for this is because I used to buy every single Humble Bundle that would come out because they were good value and there would be like one game out of it that I would want, and I could get the Humble Bundle cheaper than that singular game. So I have 600 plus games in my Steam library, and some of them I don't even know that I own. So Outlast is not my thing. Goodbye. Shadow Warrior 3. I have seen some stuff on Shadow Warrior. The only thing Shadow Warrior that I've ever played is the Shadow Warrior DLC for Viscera Cleanup Detail, which is a game where you clean up game levels, basically. Like you're the guy who comes in and cleans up the level after the player has already played through it, which is hilarious to me. It's just a really funny, like relaxing sort of just like whatever kind of game. Very cool concept. So I've never played an actual Shadow Warrior game. From my understanding, I'm pretty sure there's like some wacky humor kind of stuff in it, but you're just kind of, I don't know, just samurai man kind of, like you use a katana, I'm pretty sure, through most of it. Seems interesting. Probably not something I would actually like seek out and purchase. Maybe if I end up ever playing the first 2 games, or at least the second one, because I know that it's on PC, I might try to look at this one sometime, but probably not anytime soon. Sonic Frontiers. I have to be honest, Sonic has sailed. Like, if it wasn't the original Sonic 1 or 2 for the Sega, I have never been interested in it. I'm the only Sonic game that I've even bought in the past 10 years is Sonic Mania, and it's just because it plays like the original Sega Sonics. Not interested in any of the 3D ones, really don't care. I have a friend that really likes Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, but I can only imagine that this is not that, and even then, it's not like a Sega Sonic game, so it's not something that I'm interested in. Moving on. Splatoon 3. I did buy the original Splatoon 1, and it was fun, but it was only fun for like maybe the first like 10 hours of the game. After that, it just feels like a Call of Duty for kids kind of thing. Like, it just feels like hey, we're Nintendo and we need a shooter, and this is it. It's a really cool concept. I like that it's not like a kill based game. Like, you don't have to kill each other if you don't want to, I guess. Like, it's beneficial to, of course, but the whole concept is you actually like painting the field, and whoever gets more paint is the winner. I think that that's really, really cool. I like that a lot, actually. But the fact that they were like, okay, instead of just expanding on Splatoon 1 and coming out with new content for it, and they ended up just making Splatoon 2 and then moving into Splatoon 3, and just the whole gimmick for the third one is that there's a single player campaign now. I just don't care. Splatoon 1 didn't hold my attention long enough with the multiplayer, and I don't really have any interest in playing it as a single player game. And I don't know, I just could never get a hang of the like aiming of the game, because I'm an elitist PC player. It's really hard for me to aim on the console controllers. So suck it. Last up, we have Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And if you've been listening to anything that I've been saying, I don't like superhero games. And I know this isn't necessarily a superhero game, but it's like a DC Comics sort of, maybe not comics, it's like a DC Universe spin-off game. So it's not you playing as the superheroes, but it looks like you are playing as Harley Quinn, King Shark, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang, who I only know Harley Quinn and Deadshot, and I barely know Deadshot. And who doesn't know Harley Quinn? So, no. That's pretty much all. That's the whole list. This has gone on vastly longer than I thought it would. This is really long. I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna put all of the timestamps in the description so you can actually just skip through this whole thing if you want to. Really appreciate you guys if you even made it to the end of this thing, because I know on the second channel, who wants to sit through this? It is what it is, but I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will definitely take note of the fact that I took way too long to do some of these games. So in the future, will hopefully get better at reacting/reading articles, videos, and we will take it from there. So hopefully the next one will be shorter. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.